Oh, no. There we go. There we go. Better. Right. Okay. Oh. Well, good morning, everyone, to what is a very, was quite a foggy morning. Not anymore. It is cleared up today very fast, which is quite surprising. But yeah, as I was making my way down, this was all fog. The entire valley was all enfogged, as they say. But yes, it's not too bad a morning, really. You know, it's not cold. Looks like it might rain, so you know, there's that as always. Yeah, that'll be fun. But other than that, it's not a bad morning, to be honest. Not a bad morning. Oh, Cavalan, good morning to you. Good morning, everyone else joining us. Oh, that's how you do it. 1 second. I forgot that's where the button was. Quick share. Hang on. Create post. There we are. There we go. Back on. There we go. Yeah. Forgotten I'd not done my sharing stuff. So if you are there, please do remember to click the like and share button. That'll help. Helps me remember to remember I've done it as well. Oh. But yes, if you are part of the of my YouTube membership program, I actually yesterday did a interview with a local parish councillor from Durham, from the Conforth, I believe it was. I believe that's how it was said in Durham. Very interesting interview. Very interesting interview with Joe, the like I say, the parish councillor. Of course, you won't be too surprised. Reform are, messing about in some quite significant ways, which is going to cause a lot of problems. For people going on there. So Joe talked about how there was domestic abuse funds that normally the parish councillors could use to sort of help people in need. Those weren't even available. So that was really depressing to hear, to be honest. But they are pushing back against them, and I suppose that was the good note that I ended it on in many ways. If you do want to push back against people on these reform people on these councils, because they are doing a lot of damage, the best news you can do, or the best thing you can do, is go out, find your local groups and join your local parish council, if you've got one, of course. If you live in that area. But the chaos, of course, of LGR sounds like it's already kicking off. Good morning to everyone, by the way, joining us. Good morning. So there was a meeting about LGR Oh, where was it now? Which council was it? Which local council was it? This is where I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, not Derry. That's Northern Ireland. I forget off the top of my head now. But yeah, they had all the opposition councillors walked out because they had been promised a vote on the proposals, and of course Reform turned around and said, no, this is what you're having. So they all walked out. We'll probably end up doing a video about that later. LGR sounds like a radio station. No, LGR stands for Local Government Reform. Yeah, going to be heating up a lot, and I think you're going to see a lot of discussions about LGR, because Reform didn't run on anything to do with LGR at all. So in the past, like 2 to 3 months, they've all of a sudden gone, oh yeah, we actually have to have a plan for LGR. So they've basically panicked in many of these councils where LGR is happening, and basically just forcing it on people, you know. We've also seen very recently, something else I'm going to cover in Warwickshire, they're refusing to let the Green councillors have any time to speak, which, you know, morning ponies. Dave W, thank you very much. Enjoyed your chat with the yesterday with the councillor. Yeah, that was really good, actually. I really enjoyed that. Lots of I think good information from it, but you know, we'll see. Wait till digital IDs come in, that'll be the fun start. Again, I don't understand what the fuss is about more of these digital IDs. I really don't get it. When you consider the fact you go to Europe and every other European country's got like ID cards except us. And the whole point is to make it easier for people to access their own information, and to make it easier so that the government can go, you know, different governmental departments can go, all right, that's who's who. That's who we know is getting the right stuff. Again, I don't get the pushback against it. I really don't. Yeah, I think people are far too worried about privacy concerns. I think people are far too worried. But then again, that's the usual British trait. Remember, we were the last, I think we were like one of the last European countries to actually get a proper professional police force as well, in many respects, because of the exact same, you know, concerns that people had. So yeah, it took a long time for that to happen as well. But if there's something I'm really noticing about a lot of these reform councils now, they're really starting to hate scrutiny, and that was something that we talked about on our chat last night with the councillor Joe. She was like, "Oh yeah, we've been locked out and not invited to any scrutiny sessions." So that means Reform isn't allowing people or other opposition groups into scrutiny session meetings, which is like, hold on. What are you doing with what are you doing with these scrutiny sessions? That's the whole point. That's what opposition groups are meant to do. It's incredibly weird that they keep on doing this. So, one thing I would definitely recommend to any council out there: start getting out your council's constitution and start reading up on it, because it seems they're now starting to try and pull some shenanigans when it comes to like constitutional processes and things like that. And here's the thing: you can push back on them. You can push back on them. Yeah, surely there's no way to avoid scrutiny. Well, this is it. You just don't invite people to the meetings. This is it. You just don't invite people to scrutiny meetings, which is what we've been seeing. Apparently in Durham, this is where it's been happening the most. It wasn't that too long ago we talked about the we put the what was it, where Durham had a external audit of their council, and 10 minutes before the meeting began, Reform uninvited all the opposition groups. Just completely uninvited them. And we'll get that report apparently properly in January. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when LGR really, when some of this stuff really starts coming off, because eventually they are going to try and just avoid scrutiny one bit of scrutiny, something bad will happen, and then they'll be like, well, this could have been avoided if you'd have let us on this scrutiny panel. Why aren't you letting us, scrutinise the decisions you were making? And eventually something bad will happen as a result of it. It's inevitable. It's just a case of what that bad thing's going to be. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully it's not too bad. But as always, these Reform people don't know what they're doing, which, guess what, has been the constant theme for the past couple of months. And what's really worried me is you've got, again, as our chat with our local council comes out tonight at 6:00. Go watch it, by the way. Interesting plug. She was saying one of the things that's happening is that Durham County Council is not funding at all the local parish councils. And as a result of that happening, parish councils are responsible for, quite a lot, of these things that they're in charge of, there's some in Durham that are on the verge of bankruptcy. And that means, unfortunately, it's the classic phrase, things will just disappear. If a local parish council goes bankrupt, then things will just disappear, services will just go, and that will affect God knows how many, local people in that area, because suddenly they won't have access to services that maybe they need at that time. And that's where things will get worrying for local people in those areas. So it is quite a worry when things like that start to happen. And probably will increasingly now happen. As I've said, I think my local council is going to go reform, unfortunately. I think most councils in the northeast might end up going reform. And we're going to, unfortunately, find out just how bad these lot are. And I always laugh at the people who often leave comments, they won't be bad as the previous lot. And I'm like, oh no, my friend. You know nothing about your current councillor. Why are you then thinking that these lot are going to be bad? Yeah, exactly. Local buses. Again, it depends on the local council. Depends on what they do. Some of that stuff might go. There's a lot of stuff that could be under threat that people are used to and could just disappear because these reform councils aren't doing anything. They're not doing their job. And yet these people get supported by people saying, oh yeah, won't it be fantastic when these reform people come in? Yeah, they end up not doing their job. As a result, it hurts, as we're seeing now, councils. And LGR is happening at the end of this month. We're already seeing clashes start to happen because these reform people are in charge of councils that they've already just suddenly decided, oh yeah, LGR is actually a thing. Maybe we actually need to do something about it. Look, lo and behold, they're now panicking, desperately rushing to do anything they possibly can about LGR. So yeah, it's not going to be good. Some areas are suddenly going to find themselves gone. There's other councils we've pointed out before that have done this properly, that have been doing this since, this time last year. And they've been thinking about it. They ran on the May local elections if it was happening. They were like, okay, this is our plan. And it was sort of seen in many of those areas where they ran as sort of like a mini referendum on which plan, wanted to go forward. Reform didn't even consider running on that. So it all comes back full circle again on the fact that they're completely useless. Which inevitably ends up hurting more local democracy even more. Which is not going to be good either in the long run. But I did like the fact that Farage this week has had a lot of pushback. Especially when it's come to like the budget stuff. He's announced that he's not going to like be cutting taxes or anything like that at the moment, because I think he's suddenly realized, oh, you know, I actually might need to appear competent and not like, you know, a proto mini Liz Truss about to, you know, set off the bomb in the Treasury again. So Farage has actually got a lot of, I think, proper scrutiny this week and pushback against a lot of, you know, their economic plans, which, by the way, has now seemed to have triggered an internal civil war because Richard Tice and Zia Youssef are now apparently fighting about who gets to be the Chancellor. And I'm like, oh boy, let them fight. Let them fight. You know, just as in local councils where we've seen these reform people argue and fight about who gets, you know, which cabinet position or even leader. Yeah, it turns out that's also happening at the highest levels as well. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought, you know, right down from the top, that's where they're getting it from. Oh, but that would be fun. That would be very fun if Zia Youssef and Tice start fighting. Oh my god. That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious if that starts fighting. You know, please guys, do start fighting. Because that would just be a content goldmine for days. Oh. Uh-huh. There we go. Oh, and speaking of Corbyn, has anyone seen the 800 grand that's missing? It's just resting in, just resting in her account. You know, honestly, your party never ceases to be an endless source of amusement. Never ceases to amaze me how that has just completely crumbled, just as many of us had predicted it would. But there you go. Oh. Well, we've managed to pass through the rhubarb triangle and not lose connection, which is good. So I'll take that as a win. But it keeps on going round. Oh, Badger, good morning to you. Say good morning, everyone else joining us as well. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe button. Well, the like and share button. And of course the subscribe button as well. like I say, I'm going to take another moment to plug my interview I did with one of the local parish councillors of Conforth from Durham, basically spilling the tea on what it's like with these reform lot in charge. And to be honest, it's not good. It's really not good. I hope reform fall apart. Well, honestly, if you look at what's going on in Kent at the moment, I mean, they're being sued twice on two fronts. I'm quite surprised other councillors are not suing them as well, to be honest. But who knows? Maybe we'll find out more. Of course, the erotic novel scandal continues to, deepen there. God, I still can't believe that story. It sounds so bad. So bad. But yeah, go watch our video on that. It's just weird from start to finish. And then of course I talked about it with Graham on Thursday as well. So yeah, it's just weird, honestly. I don't understand how they've gone and done that, but you know. And then Cornwall falling apart. Cornwall falling apart. You know, like that has done. And that could have been another council where they could have been in control. So there's just so much stuff going on at like this local level, you know. And I do want to talk about some of the budget stuff. I really do. But I do think they are going to have to, you know, raise taxes, which I always said inevitably was probably going to be the case. So, you know, what's that? Another one for me. Another one for me. So I think the right-wing media are going to have a field day regardless, you know. Got to keep on continuing to feed that public perception that you know, this Labour government's absolutely terrible. And have they done some bad things I disagree with? Absolutely, I think they have done some bad things. But they've also done a lot of good things as well. And I'm like, why aren't you talking about it? Why aren't you talking more about all those good things you've done? What are you doing? But that's the big problem. Perception versus reality. And it's the same at, you know, local councils. This is where, you know, reform have fed into all this. Again, coming all full circle. You know, the perception is it's absolutely awful, doom and gloom everywhere. Yeah, you are right. Right, we always have a field day about Labour regardless. Yeah. But the reality is, they're not doing that bad. Like, if you go and have a look, you know, and you follow someone like, you know, Sebastian, I can't remember his same name now, Sebastian, not Selleck, can't remember his name now, but he does the whole clear the lobby email like once a week, like this is what's going on in Parliament. Generally, if you think they are doing such a bad job, I would encourage you, sign up to that email list, get the weekly lowdown of what's been going on in Parliament, and I think you might have your perceptions changed, quite frankly. I think you might have your perceptions changed. Or at least maybe challenged a bit. About this current government. But we also had in American news, did anyone else see the farmer exec collapse right in the middle of the Oval Office, and Donald Trump's just standing there like an absolute psychopath, not even caring, not even like helping out while this guy's like dying on the floor. Yeah, it sort of sums up, I think, the whole state of America, really, at the moment. I mean, didn't think you could ask for a better analogue. And of course, you had Mandani win in New York, which again is an excellent win for him. The big problem now is he actually has to start delivering on that. You know, winning a campaign is one thing, but now you've got to actually do the stuff. And I guarantee you this now, there's going to be a lot of people on the left that are going to like lose their minds at some point. Because Mandani is not going to be able to do everything. He might be able to do like maybe 70% of the things, or maybe 60% of the things, or maybe one of the things, you know, he has to maybe compromise on something. And I guarantee you, the moment that happens, there are going to be a certain, shall we say, section of lefties in America who are going to lose their minds, saying that Mandani has betrayed them. I think in reality, he's probably going to go down maybe as like one of the most popular mayors in New York's history. I do think, I really hope, you know, and want him to do well. I really do. But there's a reality when you are in charge, when you are in government, you are going to face, you know, challenges. You are going to face, you know, problems on that. And I don't think there's going to be some people that are going to really appreciate that. They're just going to assume you should have to do everything exactly. And that's not how, you know, it's not how politics works. It's not how, you know, governance can, you know, work. You have to, you know, look at compromise. Maybe you can't do everything. But if you want to get good stuff, if you want to get stuff done, then sometimes you have to do those things. It's a reality. Anyone who's ever been in a leadership position, you know, will know and tell you. It's just the reality of these things. Yeah, good luck with your party. Yeah. Good luck. And of course, in May, we'll probably see some. We'll probably see some vote splitting going on, and that's going to cause some big realizations at the end of the day in May. Over 50k members so far. Yeah, membership doesn't matter of a political party. Really doesn't, because it proves nothing about the big game in town. As I've always said, it's electoralism. At the end of the day, doesn't matter if you are saying the best things, you've got the best ideas. If you cannot win an election, if you cannot get into power, if you cannot control the levers of power, doesn't matter. You're voting for George Galloway? Well, there's a wasted vote. There's a wasted vote. Oh, we've got a Galloway goon in chat. And yeah, Dave, that's a good point. You know, the position they've been left in. You've had a Tory government for the past 14 years that's engaged in god-awful, you know, austerity that has done a heck of a lot of damage to, like, so many things, institutions, local council. You cannot just fix that overnight. It is not something you can just click your fingers and go, bang, solved. Any government that had followed the previous one would be right now facing a very hard time. Even if by some magic miracle, magic Grandad Corbyn had come along and somehow managed to win. Yeah, he ain't gonna solve it either. You know what's funny, Mike, is that any right-winger out there, any right-winger, any of the right-wing press will say to you, Starmer's a lefty. He's clearly of the left. Look at what he's done here. Look at what he's done on this. Right? And then you get people like yourself who are like, Starmer's not a lefty. how dare you? What is he? The right wing says he's left wing. The left wing says he's right wing. Oh. And it's exactly like the BBC, because the BBC happened to this not that long ago. Because I think it was the Daily Telegraph that published a report saying that that the BBC had been far too, pro-Palestinian. And I'm like, wait, what? The left has been screaming at the BBC for the past 2 years, claiming that they're not covering the ongoing genocide in Gaza. And yet now, they've got a right-wing outlet publishing a study done on coverage of Gaza by the BBC to say, oh, they've been far too pro-Palestinian. Oh. Sometimes, Jesus. I mean, now you can't get kicked out by Section 21 notices, You'll have to thank Starmer for that, by the way, guys, just in chat. There's now better rules and regulations for you as now a tenant, tighter restrictions on landlords, gotta thank Starmer for that. Rail nationalisation next year, going full steam ahead, to be done earlier than previously thought. I thought we wanted things to be nationalised. Local bus services and local transport is coming under now the auspices of local government. Guess where all that's happening? Oh, that's right, under all the local Labour mayors. Should have been Corbyn. Should have been a better leader, shouldn't he? That's my response. Corbyn was one of the worst leaders in history. The man would not listen to all his party, which is why they all turned against him. He had no friends left by the end. And as a leader, you have to recognise. That he was just an awful, terrible leader. Look at everything that's gone on with your party. It's everything I said it would be. An absolute disaster. From start to probable end. Oh. But we were only saying that right from the beginning. Only predicted right from the very beginning what would happen. I don't want to say I was right, but I was right. There we go. Oh, hang on, what was that? Blue Badger. Do you think that rail renationalisation might help with covering the taxes this Parliament, Ollie? No, not really. If you renationalise something, sort of means the government has to pay for it as well. So there is an outlay of that, but also there's an inlay. How many people are going to use the railways? Are the railways going to be improved? Are we going to see improvements to the railways? I've always said this right from the very beginning. People talk about, nationalisation. If only things would be nationalised, wouldn't it be great? And that's where the conversation seems to be stopped. Well, you've got the current Labour government going, right, we are going to make sure that our new body, British Rail, is going to be run properly. We're going to make sure that they absorb all these companies in a timely manner, because that's what a lot of people forget. Great British Rail is absorbing all these different entities to become nationalised. That is in itself a big undertaking. So before they even think about doing anything, any exciting stuff, they're making sure that all the integration of all these different companies into now one entity is going to go smoothly. No one's said that, but that is a very good experiment. I've said continuously, I think one of the best things they could do is just get rid of the age limits on solo travel rail cards. That would be great. Create a Netflix-like subscription to rail. That would be great. But I don't think we're there at that moment. I think they're more focusing on, right, we need to get all these different rail companies, which are quite big things, into one entity, which, hey, it's going to take some time. So we'll see how that goes. Eventually. Will things go wrong? Absolutely. but we'll see. So yeah, here we are at the end of our good morning walk today. Thank you very much, of course, for joining us, of course, as always. Like I say, we've got our interview later on coming out at 6 o'clock this evening, so give that a watch. We've got some more videos coming through. I'm going to talk about the constitutional shenanigans that George Finch is pulling down in Warwickshire, by not allowing the Greens to speak. And of course, as always, thank you very much for watching. We are, of course, at the end of our good morning walk today. Yeah, very true. Blue Badger, yeah, I do agree, but the right-wing press aren't going to see it that way. It's the whole perception versus the reality. And that's where having, maybe good comms would help fight back against that. But as always, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Do, stay safe today on your weekend, as always. If you can't be safe, at least be sensible. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.